In this video, I'm going to show you how to design an Aero-Port subwoofer box in less than 10 minutes. And the adventure starts right here on my website, DIYAudioguy.com. I'll be sure to give you a link down in the video description. You can find the tool right here, Box Builder Beta, or click right here where it says Free Subwoofer Box Plans. That's going to put you on this landing page. There'll be more stuff on this landing page over time. I want to point out right here are a bunch of discount codes. You can click on these links to make a purchase at any of these vendors and plug in the code DIYAudio to save a little bit of money on your next audio upgrade. Let's click Get Started, and what pops up next is the subwoofer selector page where you can pick your subwoofer. I've got a database of over 1,500 subwoofers, so most of the subwoofers you want are probably going to be here. You can just do a search if you like. I'm going to do a search for a kicker, Comp Q 10. I'm going to choose this one right here. This is the newest generation, the dual 4-ohm version. For this design, I'm going to have two subwoofers. If you're not sure if you've picked the right one, you can always just click on one of these links right here and it will take you to a vendor page where you can verify that you've selected the right subwoofer. Then we hit next. That puts us in step 3 where we can simulate and tune the subwoofer. We can choose a ported or a sealed enclosure. I'm going to go with a ported enclosure because this is an Aero-Port subwoofer enclosure tutorial, and I'm going to choose simulate and tune. Then I'm going to take the enclosure size and I'm going to bump it up, and as you bump up the enclosure size, this graph right here goes up, so the subwoofer is getting louder as the enclosure gets bigger. I'm going to go with 3 cubic feet for a pair of 10-inch subwoofers, and then take slider right here and I'm going to tune it a little bit lower so we can get some low-end extension. The thing to keep in mind about this is as you tune lower, the ports are going to get longer, so maybe more difficult to fit the port in the enclosure. As the box gets smaller, the port will get longer. That makes it more difficult to put the port in the enclosure. So what I recommend that you do is oversize the box a little bit so you can have room for your port, and maybe you'd like to tune it to 30 hertz, but maybe back it off just a little bit so you can make sure that you can fit the port in the enclosure later. Then we hit next, and now we have this screen right here, which has given us a power estimate. This is 80% of the rated power of the subwoofer. We can raise or lower that if we want to, but the standard is to use 80%. And then we have a port area in square inches. The thing to remember is as the port area gets bigger, you can see here on the graph, your port velocity goes down. So you want a large port to prevent chuffing. But we're using an Aero-Port, a flared port. And the beauty of a flared port is you can get away with a higher airspeed velocity without having any audible chuffing. The general rule of thumb is for sound quality, you want to keep it below 17 meters per second squared. For your daily driver build, you want to keep it below 34 meters per second squared. And with an Aero-Port, you can double those numbers. So you can lower the area of your port and get away with a higher port airspeed velocity. That is the beauty of the Aero-Port. Below that is a plot that shows your excursion. We're interested in this point right here, which looks to be about 26, 27 hertz. So any frequency below that, our subwoofer is going to go beyond its X-max and we might hear some distortion. That's easy to fix. We'll just turn on the infrasonic filter on our amplifier. Almost every subwoofer amplifier has an infrasonic filter. We hit next and we get a nice summary page of what we just saw, along with an SPL plot, our excursion plot, and our port velocity plot again. Key numbers on this plot right here. The most important one is the F3. That's the point where we're down 3 dB from flat. That's going to be at 26.7 hertz. This screen's also going to show us a port length, so we're going to need about a 23.5-inch long port. That's important information because we're going to have to decide on a width of our box. So let's hit next, and that kicks us into stage 2 of this system. Stage 2 moves us from simulate and tune into building your blueprints. So we're going to go through a simple step-by-step process. When we're done, we'll have a set of blueprints in our email inbox. We have 4 options here. We have 2 slot port options, and then we have 2 side firing round port options. We're going to go with the Aero-Port option. I'm going to double up on the baffle because I just like doubling up on the baffle. We have spacing options. We can space them tight together or we can stagger or offset them, but the system is designed to override our spacing options if we have to make the ports fit in the enclosure. So all that looks good to me. I'm going to hit next and enter my enclosure size. It's already defaulted to a width and a height. Those are just guesstimates. They mean absolutely nothing. I know I'm going to need more than 2 feet in the box, so I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to 30 inches. My subwoofers are 10.69 inches in diameter, so I know I need to have 11.5, maybe 12 inches at a minimum to fit the subwoofer. I'm actually going to go with 14 inches. The airspace came over from Simulate and Tune. We can adjust it now if we want to. The tuning frequency was brought over from Simulate and Tune. We can adjust that if we want to. And the port area in square inches was also brought over from Simulate and Tune. Again, we can adjust that if we want to. The system has estimated the amount of airspace that our subwoofers displace in the enclosure, and this system is designed to take that into account, as well as the space taken up by the ports and any bracing you might add to the enclosure. We hit next and we wait and see what happens. And we have a problem. This system is designed to catch problems. The issue here is that even though we know we need about 2 feet worth of pipe, we're going to be putting big flares on this pipe, and those flares take up extra space. So we don't have a box that's wide enough to fit our Aero-ports. And we get a nice 3D visualization of that, and we can see the ports sticking out of the enclosure. This tool is designed to give you the information you need in order to solve this problem, and one solution is to, instead of using 4 4-inch ports, is to try 1 6-inch port. So we can just choose 1 6-inch port. Now if we go with that option, we're only going to get 28 square inches of port area. Let me back up and explain what's going on. The system tried to put 4 ports inside of the enclosure, and when you put 4 ports inside of the enclosure, each port is going to tune 1/4 of the enclosure, meaning each port is only going to see a very small airspace. And as the airspace gets smaller, the port has to get longer. So those ports ended up excessively long because there were many of them, which meant they couldn't fit in the box. The solution is to use 1 larger port, but there was a big trade-off to switching to 1 larger port. That 1 big port didn't give us the cross-section that we were hoping for. So we had to make a choice. And while that might not be an optimum design, that does tell us something really important about designing subwoofer boxes and life in general, and that is that there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. There's no such thing as a perfect subwoofer box. What you can do is get the best box possible given your set of constraints. That's the design philosophy behind this tool. You input a set of constraints like the width and the height and the airspace and the tuning frequency, and this tool will give you the best box possible given those constraints, which is less than we wanted, but it will fit in the enclosure. And the total length is going to be 18 inches. That includes the flares and the center section that comes in the kit, and that's going to make life a lot easier. And if we scroll down a bit, we get this nice 3D representation of what we're trying to build. We can spin it around, we can explode it, and look at every angle and get an idea if it is what we want. Before moving on, I want to point out the dimensions of the enclosure. It is 30 inches wide, 14 inches tall, and 21.25 inches deep. So before you go to the next step, you want to make sure that this subwoofer box will fit in your vehicle. If it won't fit in your vehicle, then don't move forward. Go back and try to design something that will fit in your vehicle. Let's hit next and see what happens. The system is going to email the plans to you, and in just a minute, those blueprints will show up in your inbox. Before we look at the plans, stop and take a look at the timestamp on this video. The design phase took just a couple of minutes. If you were to try this with pencil and paper and a calculator, it would take you hours. Let's check out the plans. Here are your plans. Now that you've got your plans, you want to make sure you take some time to make sure the plans make sense to you and that you know what to do before you start cutting wood. Because the worst outcome is to cut wood and build something that doesn't work. So let's scroll down through the plans and take a look at them. The first thing it's going to give you is a project overview. Review all of that and make sure it is what you are looking for. It's going to give you some 3D views so you can get an idea of what it will look like once it's assembled. It's going to list your subwoofer and give you a couple of affiliate links to some places where you can buy those affiliate links are very important because that's how I'm paying for the web hosting for this tool. If people will click on the affiliate links and buy their subwoofers, then all the time and money I've got invested into building this tool for you will pay off and I can continue to keep hosting the tool. If you don't, I'll have to put ads on the tool or take it down. So it's up to you. If you think I've built something that's worthwhile, you should be clicking on these links and making purchases. This is ABS cement. It's the best stuff for gluing these ports together because they are made out of ABS. I will point out that these plans give you a license to produce enclosures just for yourself. This is not a commercial use license. The first thing it's going to do is give you a front view and it's going to show you the size of your baffle. In this case, we're going to have 2 baffles, so there'll be 2 30 by 14 inch pieces. The next view is going to be the exact exact same view, but it's going to show you suggested speaker placement. This is merely a suggestion. You can put these anywhere you want as long as you have room for them. Before you cut the holes for your speakers, I recommend that you do a test cut on some scrap material. I have found that speaker cutout dimensions are oftentimes wrong, so double check them before you start cutting. That's the most important lesson of the day, is double check before you start making sawdust. This is the back view, and in this case the back view is exactly the same as the front view minus the speakers. It's a 30-inch wide by 14-inch tall panel, so you'll cut your back panel 30 by 14. Here is a side view. The side is going to show you the depth of the subwoofer into the enclosure. The gray area on the side view represents pieces that you can see when looking at the side. The subwoofer is 6.5 inches deep, and it's going to plunge 5.75 into the enclosure because I'm assuming that your outer baffle is merely decorative trim so that you can recess the subwoofer. I like to do this because I think it looks better that way. The side panel itself is going to be 19 inches wide. This is the view from the top and the bottom. It should be two identical pieces of 30 by 19. This is the top view where you can see the port and the two subwoofers in the enclosure. You want to verify that there's plenty of room and that all the dimensions look correct to you. This is the side piece, and it shows where to cut the port hole. In this particular case, there's plenty of room to mount the port, so you can change this if you want to. Here is an example of what a brace might look like. This particular brace is designed to have two windows for airflow and then an opening for the port. That way both ends of the port are supported. Finally, we have a cut list. You want to make sure that the cut list and the dimensions in the plans all line. We have information for optional bracing. In this case, that port support and brace combination piece should be the exact same size as all of the sides. And what you'll notice when you look at the cut list is you'll notice some common dimensions: 30 inches, 19, 19, 12 and a half. This cut list is designed specifically to minimize the number of cuts you need to make on your table saw when you're breaking down your sheet goods to build your subwoofer box. And since I know what kind of brace I'm recommending, I know how much airspace that brace takes up in the enclosure, and I've calculated the airspace taken up by the brace, so you don't have to worry about that. More on bracing, I'm assuming you're going to use these vertical strips inside the enclosure for additional reinforcement. There is already room in the internal airspace for 4 of those. I found that triangle shaped braces like this are a great way to use up scrap material and add extra bracing to the enclosure. Use them if you want to. And there you go. In just a couple of minutes, you went from an idea to plans, and now you can build your subwoofer box.